Beside Hoon, Nara stepped forward. "Commander, I am not ill or corrupted. I have learned much from these humans that could benefit our people." Sook's expression didn't change. "Your judgment is compromised. The Council has ordered your return." That moment, another alert sounded. Officer Jisoo looked up from her console with worry. "Captain, 3 Earthships have just entered the system. They're hailing us." The view screen split to show an older human woman with the insignia of Earth Fleet Command. "Captain Hoon, this is Admiral Park. We've come to escort you and the Tyluri." Diplomat to Earth for official talks. Hoon felt trapped between 2 forces, neither of which cared about what he or Nara wanted. "Admiral Commander, I suggest we all take some time to—" "There will be no discussion," Sook interrupted. "Diplomat Nara belongs to the Dominion." "The Tyluri diplomat is in Earth space," Admiral Park countered. "Protocol dictates—" "Enough." Nara's voice cut through the tension. "I am not property to be claimed. I will make my own decision." "Both?" The Admiral and Commander looked shocked. "You have no authority to decide," Sook said. "With respect, Commander," Nara replied, "I am still 3rd diplomat until formally relieved of duty. I invoke the right of diplomatic choice." Sook's face darkened. "That ancient law has not been used in centuries." "But it still exists," Nara insisted. Hoon looked at her with new respect. Even now she was finding a way forward using Tyluri rules. "What is this right?" Admiral Park asked. "In times of crisis, a Tyluri diplomat may choose independent action if they believe it serves the greater good," Nara explained. "I choose to go to neither Earth nor the Dominion, but to neutral space." Before either side could respond, Hoon gave a quick signal to his pilot. The Horizon's engines roared to life and the ship shot forward, slipping between the surprised Earth and Tyluri vessels. "Full speed to Omega Station," Hoon ordered. "They're both pursuing," Jisoo reported. Nara moved to Hoon's side. "The Tyluri ships are faster, but I know a way to modify your engines to outrun them." "Do it," Hoon said. Hours later, the Horizon docked at Omega Station, a trading hub known for its strict neutrality. Hoon and Nara hurried through crowded corridors filled with beings from dozens of worlds. "We need somewhere safe to hide," Hoon said, looking over his shoulder. "Both Earth and Tyluri agents will be searching for us." Nara led him down a side passage. "The station has an old data center. Few know about it, but it contains records from across the galaxy." Inside the dimly lit data center, Nara accessed a terminal. "There's something I need to show you. Something that explains why both our governments are so determined to keep us apart." The screen filled with ancient records and images. Hoon watched as Nara uncovered document after document showing secretive meetings between human and Tyluri officials going back decades. "They've known about each other for years," Nara said. "They've been sharing just enough technology to keep advancing, but never enough for true cooperation." "Why?" Hoon asked. "Power. Control." Nara pointed to another document. "Look here. They found evidence of a 3rd civilization, one that thrived through cooperation rather than competition. Both sides feared what would happen if their people followed that example." Hoon's communicator beeped, a coded message from Officer Jisoo. "Earth and Tyluri forces have boarded the station. They're searching level by level." "We need to make this public," Hoon said. "Can you access the station's broadcast system?" Nara nodded. "Yes, but once we do, there's no going back. We'll be branded traitors by both sides." Hoon took her 6-fingered hand in his. "Some things are worth the risk." As they worked to prepare the broadcast, the door to the data center slid open. They turned, expecting soldiers, but instead saw Engineer Min and Officer Jisoo. "The whole crew is with you," Jisoo said. "What do you need us to do?" Hoon smiled at his loyal friends. "Help us tell the truth." Outside, the sounds of searching grew closer. They had minutes at most before they would be discovered. "Whatever happens," Nara said quietly to Hoon, "I do not regret choosing this path." Hoon squeezed her hand. "Neither do I." The broadcast system powered up as the first sounds of pounding came at the door. The broadcast from Omega Station spread quickly throughout both human and Tyluri space. Billions watched as Captain Hoon and diplomat Nara revealed the secret agreements between their governments, agreements designed to keep their peoples separate and suspicious of each other. For too long we have been told that our differences make us enemies, Hoon said into the camera. But we have discovered something more powerful than our differences. The door to the data center burst open. Earth and Tyluri forces rushed in, weapons ready. Admiral Park and Commander Sook led their respective teams. This broadcast ends now, Admiral Park demanded. You are both making a terrible mistake, Commander Sook added. Nara stepped forward. Before you take us, there is something we must show. She motioned to Engineer Min, who activated a small device sitting on the console. A hologram appeared between the two opposing groups, a spinning design of interlocking parts. What is this? Admiral Park asked. A new power source, Hoon explained. One that combines Tyluri theoretical science with human practical engineering. Min spoke up. It produces twice the energy of current systems with half the resources. Neither humans nor Tyluri could have created it alone. Commander Sook studied the design with obvious interest. This is remarkable. And it's just the beginning, Nara said. Together, we could solve problems neither of our species has been able to overcome separately. The room fell silent as the implications became clear. My orders are to bring you back for trial, Admiral Park finally said, her voice less certain. As are mine, Commander Sook agreed. Hoon looked at both officials. Then do what you must, but know that you cannot stop what we've started. To everyone's surprise, a new voice spoke from the doorway. Perhaps there is another way. An elderly Tyluri entered leaning on a staff. Behind him stood a human woman with white hair. High Counselor Tay, Nara gasped, bowing deeply. President Su, Hoon said, equally shocked. The leaders of both worlds had come in person. We watched your broadcast, President Su said. It was enlightening. Some of us have long suspected the truth, High Counselor Tay added. Your courage has forced us to confront it. The next 3 days were filled with tense negotiations. Hoon and Nara found themselves at the center of talks that would reshape relations between their peoples. Their crew members stood by them, offering support and technical expertise. On the 4th day, they all gathered in Omega Station's Grand Hall. Representatives from both worlds filled the room, along with curious onlookers from other species. Today marks a new chapter in our histories, President Su announced. We have agreed to form the first joint human Tyluri research initiative. High Counselor Tay stepped forward. And to lead this initiative, we have chosen 2 individuals who have already proven what our peoples can accomplish together. Hoon and Nara stood side by side as they were named joint ambassadors. The crowd's reaction was mixed. Some cheered while others looked uncertain. It will not be easy, Nara whispered to Hoon. Many on both sides will resist change. Nothing important ever is easy, he replied. Later that evening they stood on an observation platform, watching as ships from both worlds docked peacefully alongside each other. Do you remember when we first met? Hoon asked. You couldn't understand why I would help someone so different from myself. Nara smiled. And now I cannot imagine a universe where we remained strangers. The ancient prophecy you told me about, Hoon said. Do you think this is what it meant? Perhaps. Nara looked out at the stars. Or perhaps this is just the beginning. Engineer Min interrupted their moment, excited. Ambassador, we've received requests from 20 different worlds wanting to join the initiative, Hoon laughed. It seems we're not the only ones tired of standing alone. As word spread throughout the galaxy, other species began to reach out. The idea that difference could be strength rather than weakness was powerful. That night, in a quiet moment away from the diplomatic chaos, Nara played a song on her flute while Hoon listened. The melody was neither human nor Tyluri, but something new, something that could only exist because 2 different worlds had found each other. Outside, the stars shone on ships from both their worlds, now docked side by side. Not as perfect equals, not without problems to solve, but with the courage to try something new. It was enough. It was a beginning. Eons. Evolutionary dead ends that would ultimately doom humanity. Yet these humans had crossed space just like her people. They were different, but not inferior. The ship's alarm shattered her thoughts. All hands to stations, Hoon's voice came through the speakers. Unknown vessels approaching. Nara rushed to the bridge. On the view screen she saw 3 ships she recognized immediately. The pirates who attacked me, she said. They're back. The ships fired and the horizon shook. Our shields are failing, Officer Jisoo reported. They have better weapons than us. Nara stepped forward. Captain, I can help. Telluri defensive systems are more advanced. If Engineer Min and I work together, we might adapt your shields. Hoon nodded. Go. As they worked frantically in engineering, another hit rocked the ship. We need more time, Min said. There is another way, Nara replied. She pulled out the flute Jisoo had given her. The pirates use automated targeting systems that detect engine frequencies. If we can broadcast the right sound through the ship's external speakers, it might confuse them. Min looked doubtful, but helped her connect the flute to the ship's communication system. On the bridge, Hoon was preparing for the worst when strange music came through the ship's speakers. Nara was playing the flute. The sound was still rough but had a clear pattern. On the view screen, the pirate ship suddenly began moving erratically. It's working, Jisoo said. Their targeting systems are confused. Fire now, ordered Hoon. The Horizon's weapons hit their mark. The pirate ships retreated quickly, trailing smoke. Later, when the danger had passed, Hoon found Nara on the observation deck. You saved us, he said. With music. Nara looked at the flute in her hands. Yes, with something my people would call useless. Maybe our differences make us stronger together, Hoon suggested. Maybe, Nara agreed. And for the first time since he'd met her, she smiled. 2 months had passed since Nara's arrival on the horizon. The repairs on her ship were moving slowly, partly because Engineer Min kept finding problems that needed fixing. Nobody, not even Captain Hoon, seemed in a hurry to complete the work. On this particular day, Nara stood in the ship's kitchen, watching cook Yuna prepare dinner. You cut the vegetables very precisely, Nara observed. Yuna smiled. Captain Hoon mentioned you like geometric patterns. He notices such things? Nara asked, surprised. He notices everything about you, Yuna said softly. Later, Nara found Hoon in his favorite spot on the observation deck. He sat looking at the stars, a book open but unread on his lap. May I join you? Nara asked. Hoon moved over, making space on the bench. They sat in comfortable silence for several minutes. My ship will be ready soon, Nara finally said. Hoon nodded but didn't look at her. I know. I received a message from the Telluri Council yesterday. They are displeased with my extended stay among humans. Hoon turned to her now. Are you in trouble? They believe I may have been compromised by human influence. Have you been? Hoon asked quietly. Nara looked at her 6-fingered hands. The council would say, yes, I play music now, I read stories, I laugh. She paused. These are not Telluri ways. Do you regret learning our ways? No, she admitted. But my duty is clear. I must return and report. Hoon's face showed sadness, though he tried to hide it. Of course, you have responsibilities to your people. The next day, Officer Jisoo approached Nara in the corridor. The captain has received orders from Earth Command, she said. They want him to convince you to share Telluri technology before you leave. Nara felt a coldness inside. And will he? Jisoo looked uncomfortable. He told them no, said it would violate your trust. That evening, Nara couldn't sleep. She walked the quiet corridors of the horizon, thinking about her home. The Telluri were logical, advanced, and disciplined. They had achieved great things, but they never sat watching stars for pleasure. They never made music just to hear beautiful sounds. She found herself outside Hoon's quarters and before she could reconsider, knocked on his door. Hoon appeared, looking tired. Nara, is everything all right? I need to tell you something, she said. May I come in? Inside, Hoon's quarters were dimly lit. Books and small objects from Earth filled the shelves, so different from the minimal Tyluri style. There is something in Tyluri history that few know, Nara began. A prophecy from our ancient times before we embraced pure logic. Hoon sat down, listening carefully. It speaks of a time when the Tyluri would meet beings who walk on emotion rather than reason. These beings would seem primitive, but would possess wisdom we had forgotten. Together, the two peoples would face a great challenge that neither could overcome alone. You believe this prophecy refers to human? Hoon asked. I didn't until I met you, she admitted. The Council suppressed this prophecy centuries ago. They consider it dangerous. Hoon was quiet for a moment. Earth Command has ordered me to bring you to Earth after your ship is repaired. They want to establish formal relations with the Tyluri, and the Council wants me to return directly home with no further human contact, Nara said. Their eyes met, and suddenly the small space between them seemed charged with unspoken feelings. What do you want, Nara? Hoon asked softly. I want... She struggled to find words for feelings she had been taught never to have. I want to continue learning your ways. I want to play music better. I want... She couldn't finish, but she didn't need to. Hoon moved closer and very gently took her hand in his 5 fingers intertwined with her 6. I feel something for you that I shouldn't, he whispered, something that crosses too many boundaries. As do I, Nara admitted. It is illogical. Completely, Hoon agreed with a small smile. A warning light suddenly flashed on Hoon's wall terminal. He reluctantly released her hand and checked the alert. A Tyluri ship has entered the system, he said, his voice tight. They're demanding your immediate return. Nara felt fear, another emotion she had rarely experienced before meeting humans. The Council must have sent enforcers. What will they do? They will take me back and purge the human influence from me. She looked at him with frightened eyes. I will forget everything. Music. Stories. You. Hoon's face hardened with determination. Not if I can help it. Come on. As they hurried through the corridors toward the bridge, Nara thought about the impossible choice before her. Duty to her people or this new path that felt so right despite everything she had been taught. The prophecy spoke of two peoples facing a challenge together. Perhaps this was the beginning of that challenge. Not a battle against outside forces, but against the prejudices and fears that kept them apart. The Tyluri ship hung in space like a polished jewel, its sleek design making the horizon look rough and primitive by comparison. On the bridge, Captain Hoon stood tall, facing the view screen where a stern Tyluri official glared back at him. This is Commander Sook of the Tyluri Enforcement Division, the alien said. You will immediately transfer Diplomat Nara to our vessel. She has been exposed to harmful human influence and requires purification. I'll write part 1, first contact of your story, in about 800 words using simple English, Korean names, and a third-person perspective. Here's the story. The starship Horizon cut through the darkness of space, its engines humming softly. Captain Hoon sat in his command chair, eyes fixed on the view screen. For 3 months, the Horizon had been mapping this uncharted asteroid belt at the edge of human space. Captain, I'm picking up something strange, said Officer Jisoo, her fingers moving quickly across her console. There's a signal coming from behind that large asteroid. Hoon leaned forward. What kind of signal? Unknown, sir. Not matching any human patterns. Hoon's heart beat faster. Could this be it? After years of searching the stars, could they finally have found proof of other intelligent life? Bring us closer, but carefully, he ordered. As the Horizon moved around the asteroid, they saw it, a sleek vessel with curved lines unlike any human ship. Its surface glowed with faint blue light, but part of its hull was torn open, debris floating around it. It's damaged, said Hoon. And I don't see any movement. Jisoo looked up from her scanner. Sir, I'm detecting one life form aboard. Very weak life signs. Hoon made his decision quickly. Prepare a rescue team. I'll lead it myself. 20 minutes later, Hoon floated through the silent alien ship in his spacesuit. The inside was even stranger than the outside. Walls that seemed to shift colors and controls that looked more like living things than machines. This way, said the voice of Medical Officer Tay in his helmet. The life sign is just ahead. They pushed through a damaged doorway and found themselves in what looked like a control room. Floating in the center was a being. She, Hoon somehow knew it was a she, looked almost human, but not quite. Her skin had a slight purple tint and her ears curved to delicate points. Her eyes, closed now, had double eyelids. She wore what seemed to be a uniform of shimmering material. A dark fluid, blood, floated in small drops around a wound in her side. She's dying, Tay said, scanning her with a medical device. But I have no idea how to help her. Her biology isn't in our database. Hoon made another quick decision. We'll take her back to the horizon. We have to try. Back on the human ship, Hoon paced outside the medical bay. Inside, Tay and his team worked frantically to save the alien visitor. After what seemed like forever, Tay emerged looking tired but pleased. She'll live, he said. Her system is different from ours, but not as different as we feared. We adapted some of our treatments. When will she wake up? Hoon asked. Soon, I think, but Captain, we have no idea how she'll react. Her people might be enemies. Hoon nodded. Postguards, but make sure they're not threatening. We want her to feel safe. 3 hours later, Hoon got the call. The alien was awake. When he entered the medical bay, he found her sitting up, watching everything with large eyes that were completely black except for tiny white pupils. She froze when she saw him. Hoon smiled and raised his empty hands to show he meant no harm. The alien spoke, her voice musical, but the words meaningless. A small device on the table beside her bed translated, "Why did you save me?" The question surprised Hoon. Because you needed help. The translator worked both ways, converting his words into her language, a series of melodic tones. She tilted her head. But we are not the same kind. That doesn't matter, said Hoon. I'm Captain Hoon of the Earth ship Horizon. Who are you? She placed a 6-fingered hand over her chest. I am Nara, 3rd diplomat of the Tyluri Dominion. Hoon had never heard of the Tyluri, but the word diplomat gave him hope. Your ship was damaged. What happened? Nara's face darkened. Pirates. They attacked without warning. They took our valuable metals. Space pirates? In this region? Hoon was shocked. They roam the edges of known space. Nara studied him carefully. The Tyluri Council says humans are primitive and dangerous. Yet, you saved me when you could have left me to die or taken me prisoner. Hoon smiled again. Then your council doesn't know humans very well. Nara didn't smile back, but something in her eyes changed. Perhaps not, she admitted. My ship cannot be repaired quickly. I must ask for your help, though it shames me. We'll help, Hoon said simply. You can stay aboard the Horizon until your ship is fixed, or we can contact your people. As he left the medical bay, Hoon felt a strange feeling. Something important had just begun, not just for him and Nara, but perhaps for both their worlds. He didn't know that soon. They would face dangers that would test them both, or that the unlikeliest of feelings would grow between a human captain and an alien diplomat. Nara spent her first week aboard the Horizon resting in the medical bay. Every day, Captain Hoon visited her, bringing small gifts, earth foods to try, pictures of human cities, and once a small plant in a pot. This is called a daisy, he explained as he set the white flower on her bedside table. They grow all over Earth. Nara touched the petals gently with her 6 fingers. It is simple, but pleasing, she said. The Tyluri have no such small plants. We value only the grand and impressive. When Nara was strong enough to leave the medical bay, Hoon gave her a tour of the ship. The human crew watched her with curious eyes. Some seemed afraid, others excited. Nara held her head high, trying not to show how strange everything felt to her. "This is our observation deck," Hoon said, leading her into a large room with a glass ceiling that showed the stars. "We come here when we're not working." A group of humans sat in a circle making sounds with strange objects. "What are they doing?" Nara asked. "Making music," Hoon replied. He guided her closer. Officer Jisoo smiled and held out a small instrument. "Would you like to try? It's a flute." Nara hesitated, then took it. Jisoo showed her how to hold it and blow across the top. The sound that came out was sharp and unpleasant. The humans laughed, but not in a mean way. "Not bad for a first try," Jisoo said. Later that evening, Hoon found Nara still on the observation deck, trying again and again to make a better sound with the flute. "Telluri don't make music," she explained. "We find it unnecessary." "But you're still trying," Hoon noted. Nara looked at the flute. "Yes. I don't understand why." 2 days later, Nara stood in Hoon's personal quarters, looking at the books on his shelf. "These contain stories?" she asked, touching the spine of one. "Yes, that one is about an impossible journey across a desert. Why read about something that didn't happen?" Hoon smiled. "To imagine, to dream, to understand how we might feel in different situations." Nara pulled the book from the shelf. "Teach me to read your language." As the days passed, Nara spent more time with the humans. She watched their movies, tasted their foods, and even joined their exercise sessions. In return, she taught them about Telluri science. "Your engines are inefficient," she told Engineer Min one day. "If you changed this part here, you could travel 20% faster." Min looked at her drawings with wide eyes. "That's actually brilliant." Not all exchanges went smoothly. One day, Nara found Hoon in the ship's garden, sitting quietly. "Why? Are you wasting time doing nothing?" she asked. "I'm not doing nothing, I'm thinking. Remembering my home." "You miss Earth?" "But it is just dirt and water," Hoon frowned. "It's more than that. It's where I belong." Belonging is an emotional concept. Emotions are weakness. "Are they?" Hoon asked quietly. "Then why did you keep practicing the flute even though your people don't value music?" Nara had no answer. That night, Nara sat alone in her quarters thinking about Hoon's question. The truth was, she enjoyed the flute. She enjoyed the stories in his books. She enjoyed many human things that served no practical purpose. According to Telluri teaching, this was wrong. Emotions and art were distract.